Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson.
Okay, so state services actually played a huge part in everything that I'm doing.
Don't be afraid. Get out there, meet people, be friendly. Nobody is judging you.
Think big. Look at what do you love to do, what do you enjoy doing, and then how can you turn that into getting paid?
I use my Braille display. I use JAWS.
Put on your cape, grab your gladiator shield, and go get 'em, Tiger.
Don't limit yourself.
Career Expo 2019, such a great opportunity for transition-age students to meet up with professionals from a wide variety of professions. It was an opportunity for students transitioning from high school to college to the workplace to ask questions from nearly 25 professionals. What is their job like? What tools they use? And to receive encouragement about the possibilities that they too can achieve their dreams and get the career that they want. Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson, and I'm at the Career Expo in Roseville, Minnesota, sponsored by State Services for the Blind, and I got someone here with me. Lisa Largis, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Can you tell our listeners what you do?
Yeah, so I work as the outreach coordinator at State Services for the Blind, but today I'm actually here with my second job, which is as an associate pastor at a little church in South Minneapolis. So I know some folks are interested in going into careers in the ministry or working in a church or in a congregation of some sort. I'm here to share a little bit about that experience, and that's what brings me here today.
So what did bring you here today, cane or guide dog?
Kane brought me here today. Good question. And I also brought with me, I'm a Braille reader, so I brought some maps of the Holy Land. And then I also brought with me just two books that I just discovered that I really love that I would recommend to anybody who's heading off to college or school of any sort. And one is Format Your Word Documents with JAWS and NVDA, which really sounds like a page turner, I know. It's about how to create your documents so they comply to the standards that universities and colleges and even high schools now are looking for. And it's really useful to have.
Where can someone find that book?
You know, it's available from National Braille Press is where I found it. It's worth checking out.
That's quite important, especially in college and in the workplace.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of stuff I wish I had known, and when I was coming up, I did it all, of course, on a manual typewriter, and it was really hard. But knowing how to create headings and margins and set things up right so that a professor won't just say, oh, I'm not even going to look at this or whatever. It's really important. So it's also important for creating resumes and stuff like that have something that looks nice and it's put together. So that's one contribution I'm making.
What's the other book?
The other book is about how to work with Google Docs, because that's more and more important too, and something I don't know a lot about. And it's also from National Braille Press. And so it goes through a Google Doc spreadsheets and their word processing documents. And the great thing about Google Docs is you can work on a document in real time with other people. So they could be working on one paragraph and you're doing something else somewhere else in the document, and you both have it open at the same time and stuff like that. So it's really a useful tool. So I'm glad to be learning about how to use it.
On a daily basis, whether you're at your ministry job or at State Services for the Blind, what tools do you utilize on a daily basis?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I do use my phone a lot, iPhone, with VoiceOver. I keep all kinds of documents on there and do my mail, and also use it to get around navigation. I use JAWS. I've been a JAWS user for a long time. And then I also use this thing called the Opticon. I don't know, Jeff, if you remember the Opticon, but it's a little thing that converts whatever the camera sees into a vibrating array. So it'll make the shape of the print letter S and then the next print letter T or whatever on your finger. So I use that to check formatting or to see how something's laid out, or anyway, that's another funny tool that I use a lot.
You were trying to date me, weren't you?
I was trying to but and you're No, I've never even heard of that because I was never around way back then.
Oh no, I heard about it, but it was one of those tools that I would say it was kind of mainstream back then, and then times changed a little bit.
Right, yeah. No, I still find some uses for it, so that's kind of funny.
Well, that's the purpose of asking these questions.
Right,
Is
yeah.
Sometimes people are using a tool that one may not have thought of.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like a lot of my job as a pastor and at State Services is networking. So, to me, like developing a lot of those soft skills has been really important, and it's taken me a while to learn them. Even just being confident walking through a room and shaking hands with people or introducing myself to somebody. And like even at my church sometimes there are people whose voices I don't recognize, so I'll just have to say, hey, could you just remind me? I'm not recognizing your voice. Or sometimes it's a newcomer or whatever. So anyway, learning those soft skills has been really important too.
I think it's really great what State Services for the Blind and some of the other entities around the city here are doing with blind and socially savvy.
Right, exactly. That kind of stuff is really important, and it will take you a long way. Having that kind of confidence, being able to introduce yourself to people, those first impressions make a huge difference. So I'd recommend that young adults or whatever take those classes, do reading about it, do practice, put yourself in situations where you feel just a little bit uncomfortable. It's really good to develop.
Because I know the STP program, which is a transition age group, Blind Incorporated and Duluth are all being not introduced, but to continue on with the socially savvy group.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
So what advice would you give a transition age student if they're asking about the opportunities they would have in their future?
One of the things I love about being here, like I walked around the room and talked to everybody about all the different things people are doing. So my advice is don't limit yourself. Who knows what you'll end up doing? Get a breadth of experience, challenge yourself to try new things. You just don't know what's out there. So the more you open yourself up to new experiences, being curious, the more you're going to have a life that's satisfying and fun and interesting, and you're going to develop diverse skill sets, and it's really going to serve you well. So be curious, get a lot of experience. That's my advice.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa. Thanks for being here and sharing all your advice and knowledge with all the people who are attending. It's getting busier here.
It is getting busy. Nice to talk to you, Jeff.
Be sure to contact your State Services for the Blind, your voc rehab, and find out what they can do for you. Live, work, read, succeed. A big shout out goes out to Chi Chow for his beautiful music, and you can follow Chi Chow on Twitter at LChichow. Chi Chow, Chi Chow. Enable the blind ability skill on your Amazon device just by saying Enable Blind Abilities.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind
abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.